Hey loves, it's Britt, and in this video I'm talking about the Sun opposite to Venus in Synastry. This is a really exciting aspect. It produces a lot of attraction between two people. Um, Sometimes even more than some of the other Sun-Venus aspects. I might even actually say that this opposition produces the highest level of attraction or like interest between two people of all of the Sun Venus aspects in synastry. So specifically the Sun person, or at least when I was the Sun person, or when I have been the Sun person, finds the Venus person to be incredibly attractive and in kind of like the more masculine way, the Sun person can feel like they want to chase or go after the Venus person because the Venus person is like this thing of beauty to the Sun person. And the Venus person also feels that the Sun person is like part of their ideal image of dream woman or dream man, could be, and they're really interested as well, except they're responding with their feminine energy, right? Their Venus energy. So if Venus person is the man or the masculine person in the relationship, they can feel at times that the Sun person is kind of like a dominating influence. So this is where this aspect can get kind of tricky, is that Venus can feel dominated by Sun because the energy that's created in an opposition to someone's Sun can sometimes cause the Sun person to be overly dominant or overly egotistical. So usually when someone's Sun is in an opposition, we can see some issues of like, the Sun person wanting to like dominate or have or like own Venus. So that's where it can get kind of uncomfortable or tricky, where if, the Venus person isn't comfortable with how strong the Sun person is. But usually the Venus person finds the Sun person's strength or their egoic or masculine, leadership Sun qualities to be very attractive and very sexy or sensual, and pleasurable to them. Now, because this is the opposition, it can sort of be a love-hate relationship though, because both people in this relationship, or one of my books say that specifically if this is a non-romantic relationship, one of my favorite books, Planets in Synastry, it says that sometimes you can kind of dislike a person with this opposition, especially if it's not a romantic relationship, because you see in this person qualities of yourself that are like the shadow of you. Like, so qualities that you've disowned in yourself, like parts of yourself that you don't like, you then find in this person. And it does create a bit of that because, all signs inherently contain their opposite, right? And so sometimes we project that onto another person, right? Like, Taurus, right? Like I'm a Taurus sun. So, Taurus is ultimately like through integration actually contain scorpionic qualities. And sometimes when a Taurus person sees those scorpionic qualities or the qualities of the Scorpio sign in other people, they resent them or they find them to be infuriating or just mildly annoying or frustrating. And that's what can happen in this opposition. You can do that with any of the signs that this opposition is taking place, is that we can kind of dislike those qualities in the other person when really it's like if we would just integrate them into ourselves and like, become a more integrated Taurus, right? Become a more balanced and whole Taurus by integrating that sign that's in opposition. Then we can exist more comfortably with this opposition. But, really this aspect is like an aspect of attraction, based on like the saying opposites attract, right? So if you're not being repulsed because you're seeing qualities that are you, that you've disowned, right, through the opposition. You're being attracted because there's this sense of coming together in like a wholeness, it right? Like, so that's what's so attractive about the opposition aspect. That's why it's one of my favorite aspects to have in Synastry, and that's why I definitely prefer it to the square in Synastry, is because there's this sense of finding the other half and, you know, integrating the shadow and the other side, and like masculine, feminine merging. And so with this aspect, we have a masculine planet and feminine planet in opposition. So it can tend to work pretty well. It can tend to show up in marriages, in relationships with people who just like each other and give each other a lot of grace and a lot of forgiveness. We can see with all Sun Venus aspects. The opposition is tricky though, because it can be kind of flip flop. You know, half the time you think you're the most wonderful person, and half the time you think they're just incredibly annoying or infuriating. But this aspect alone isn't going to create like anger or like, you know, any sort of toxic like relationship dynamic. But it's like when you pair this with other toxic aspects, there can be more harm to the people. So it's not like this aspect alone is going to create something toxic. It's actually just a really nice aspect where we're really checking each other out a lot. We're really noticing each other a lot. The Sun person really feels like the Venus person is like so beautiful and gorgeous, and the Venus person really feels pleasure in the Sun person's presence and their identity and the way that they act. Like it's very attractive for them. It's very like valuable for them. They can feel like the Sun is kind of like an asset, you know? So it's actually a very good aspect, very attractive aspect. The difficulties I've mentioned are usually not such a big deal. Usually it's other things in the Synastry that are going to cause more problems than this aspect. Because Sun Venus is really nice. You can't really go wrong. Even with the square or opposition or, you know, in conjunct, like you got really nice energies here. So what else? It could also be a very artistic or creative combination. The Sun person can be really inspired by the Venus person's beauty. You know, they can really feel like they become a better, more whole version of themselves through this relationship. And the Venus person can really respect the Sun person's like authority and kind of see them as like this boss figure. And so there can be a lot of just mutual appreciation and respect. And this can be the kind of relationship where you feel like you've really found like someone you want to show off, someone that you feel is like this beautiful person or this handsome person. And like this couple does tend to look good together or shine together. So it's a really romantic aspect. It's classic like in, you know, dating relationships where you just meet someone and you're just like the butterflies and like feeling like, yeah, you've really found this attractive person who is going to benefit your life in some way. So I would say like this is one of my top aspects for romantic attraction. Not as much sexual attraction, although it can translate to that because Venus can be kind of sexual, Sun can be kind of physical, but it's almost more like romantic attraction. So like the distinction there is like you actually want to date this person. Like you want to like I said, be out in public with them and like have a relationship. Like that's what you feel drawn to, as well as finding them physically attractive. But it's more, yeah, like a romantic attraction, love at first sight kind of aspect. So it's a nice one to have, and it's exciting because it's the opposition, so it's not always easy, so it's potentially more attractive than the other aspects. So yeah, I'd love to know your experience of this opposition. Was it like this? Was it not like this? Let me know in the comments, you guys, and keep your requests coming. I love doing your requests. I'm adding them all to my list. So thank you so much, and we'll talk soon. Bye.